just a bill.
Republican Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana is known for his sharp questions and his colorful quips, but he's also made a name for himself in the classroom as Mr. Kennedy. The senator occasionally teaches at a school in his home state. It allows him to interact with a younger generation that's often disillusioned by politics. We followed him in the classroom for a day and got his students' reaction to their teacher.
Hurry up before the tardy bell rings.
On a normal day at this visual and performing arts middle school in East Baton Rouge, students hustle from theater
Ladies and gentlemen,
to dance. But upstairs, in the 8th grade hallway,
right here,
an unlikely teacher.
I'm Mr. Kennedy.
United States Senator John Kennedy came to teach students how government works, from the basics
How do we become a country?
to the backbone of the American system.
A constitution is just a plan for government.
Even challenging students on issues of individual rights.
Why should you have to wear uniforms? That's freedom of expression, isn't it?
Outside the classroom, Kennedy said more than a decade of substitute teaching has taught him not every child is lucky enough to go to a school like McKinley.
I remember one little girl wrote, "I wish my daddy would stop coming over to the house and taking mama's money and hitting her." That's what you're facing. That's what kids are facing. That's what teachers are facing. Right. But on the other hand, you have classes like this. These kids were whip smart.
And 90 minutes in, half the class on one of your questions had still raised their hands.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't ready to go.
No, this is how it ought to be. Yeah. It's not. As a country, we can't teach kids how to read and write when we got 18 years to do it. Yeah. That's a disgrace. For the most part, I think teachers do a great job, but they take the kids as they find them, and it's a hell of a lot harder to be a kid today.
Kennedy also surpassed the expectations of 8th graders Sophia Schaefer, Dylan Harms, Malaysia Moses, and Trey Alston.
Sophia, was it what you would expect from a senator?
It was not. He was really good at it.
Beyond the lesson plan, Kennedy made these kids feel a bit better about politics today.
Do you feel like there's a lot of controversy in politics right now?
yes, I do feel like it's a lot because many people have different opinions, and to me, politics is opinions, just different point of views.
Just because somebody has one opinion doesn't mean that they can't be your friends and that they're not nice people. And that's what we learned today with this talk with Senator Kennedy. He's a really nice guy.
For Malaysia, politics is a passion.
Is your feeling like, yeah, this is all, working the way it's supposed to, the way we talk about it in school?
No, not at all. Our president is using a lot of racist rhetoric as if he's trying to scare a part of America. And it does scare me sometimes. It's definitely not normal, but I think that we've accepted it as normal.
But you are still really interested in it and want to be involved in it.
Right, that's probably why I want to be involved in it, because of how much it's affected me and how I feel every day, really. So that's why sometimes I feel like I want to make a difference in politics.
She was taking emotional impressions from the president, which make her scared about her country. Shouldn't school children not be scared by their president?
I don't think anybody in America ought to be scared.
After school let out, we sat down with the senator in the Louisiana state capitol.
Clearly, the president, this is the way he's made. He grows anxious when he has an unexpressed thought. He likes to think out loud. And I have suggested to him before that if just tweeting a little bit less will not cause brain damage. But that's it. He's going to do what he's going to do.
But doesn't he have to meet a higher standard because of who he is?
Well, of course, the president of the United States has to meet a high standard. But I guess what I'm saying is he thinks he's meeting it. And I understand the president makes people angry, but it's an academic discussion. It's a problem we're not going to solve. It's an issue we're not going to agree on. So let's go to work and try to do something for the American people.
In the classroom, Kennedy talked about a system constrained by its founders.
The federal government only has power given it by the Constitution.
But after nearly 2 years in the Senate, he admits reality is different.
There's some jerks. There's some big egos. There are a few that think they're one of the founding fathers.
In both parties?
In both parties. Some of my colleagues said, well, I can't vote on that. I can't take a vote on that. Why are you here? Grow some guts, People can get mad at you, but they can't eat you and they can't kill you.
It's those kinds of turns of phrase that have made Kennedy a popular interview on Capitol Hill.
Everybody up here has politics in his blood.
kind of like herpes.
Our country was founded by geniuses, but it's being run by idiots. That stuff's the reason the aliens won't talk to us.
But underneath the jokes, Kennedy has hope the next Congress can come together on issues like infrastructure and government spending.
Everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody's quite ready to make the trip. And that's the way it is with the budget. But I can tell you how the American people look at this. They say, how did some of you people make it through the birth canal?
You taught a class today in civics. How different is that than what you practice as a senator?
It's more theoretical, in some cases more fun, and you will learn more in one day of doing that than you will learn in 100 hours of committee testimony.
At McKinley, Kennedy's students hope their senator takes a lesson on good citizenship back to Washington.
I think we should all remember that we're all human beings. We all have feelings. Maybe we should stop shouting at each other and maybe, talk to each other.
I think being a citizen means that you want the best for your country, help the people that don't have as many advantages as you have. And I think basically being a citizen means to be a brother or sister to your neighbor.
I think those kids need to go to Washington, Malaysia, and Sophia and Dylan. They're also good.
Yeah, the kids were amazing, all of them. I mean, they were 90-minute class, and they were chomping at the last question. And when they talked about things in class, you see how we don't talk about them in Washington, which is the senator would say, that's a good viewpoint, and somebody else would say something. And it was all based on the same kind of fights we have in Washington. They just weren't prejudging the people who had the answer.
I can't get enough of Senator Kennedy. I'd like to sit in his
He's a hoot. That was
great,
John. Thank you.
Really great.